Dear friends, I will demonstrate Language Bridge Technology Android application now, and I assume that you are familiar with the basic articles on the website www.language-bridge.com, where you read about a simultaneous repetition or speech shadowing, it's the same name, the two names for the same concept, and a word cloud. If not, ask me and I will demonstrate it here again. So the Language Bridge application comes with 31 lessons. However, the application comes as engine or the application itself, and the lesson should be and could be downloaded from our website. So if we select a certain lesson, for example, like lesson 10, let's see, lesson 10 is marked here as downloaded, and then it means that we can start demonstrating the program. That's how the program looks on the lesson, using lesson 10 as an example. The first word cloud, and here how it works and how it looks. I click on this button, play, and you see word cloud. First see, and then I explain what you see. Okay. So what this screen does, maybe it's not transferred by screen sharing, that during this exercise, word cloud, words are shown on the screen and they appear on the screen each time separate different words from the lesson which you will learn. And because you just look, observe them, and they appear each word with its own specific sound, you just observe them, and that is a phenomenon which is called or known as priming implicit memory. What that means is, because you have seen, I mean as a learner, have seen, observed those words, and when you will find them the second time in the lesson, you will learn all those words. They will look familiar to you, and it really facilitates your acquisition of those new words. So then the next drill, the drill 1, here is the text of this drill, and it shows you the lesson in your native language, in Mandarin. You just read it. Mandarin is never pronounced, but you have support in the native language of your learners because they have to be familiar what it will be about. So there is no question, and we remember also that it is for self-teaching and for use in the class when they can use it for self-teaching both at home and in the class. So support in native language is provided, but it is provided in such a way that it is not reinforcing cross-translation, but actually it stops it. And later I will demonstrate you a few other options for support in Mandarin, and you will see what I mean. I will demonstrate it. The next drill.
Drill 2. Repeat aloud the recorded text using headphones and speaking simultaneously with the speaker with a delay of 1 or 2 words and without stopping the tape. While doing this, follow the English text with your eyes and imagine that you are participating in the situation. Don't pay attention to the details.
This is the basic drill of Language Bridge application. So you will hear recording in special English, and you have to read, listen, and repeat at the same time. You perform 3 actions. When you perform 3 actions, your ability to think in a native language will be turned off automatically. Here how it works. Lesson 10, word body. The human body is an instrument for the production of art in the life of the human soul. Alfred North Whitehead. Your body can do more things than you may think it can. You understand that I am not reading the text. I am listening and speaking at the same time. Do you hear both voices, Maya?
Yes, I understand. I actually can hear the directions. Okay, when to read, when to listen. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, great. Okay, so just to save some time, we would not, or maybe I will just show you the whole lesson on the screen, and we start further down.
Okay.
Most people do not have the habit of using their own power to heal themselves. Rather, they rely on drugs for that purpose.
Arkady, can I ask you questions in the middle, or do you
Yes.
first finish?
No, in the middle. Yes.
Okay. How do you assess the level?
The level of what?
How do you assess? How do you know that this person needs? How do you know that the person knows how to read?
Maya, the student who comes or who is in your school, and there are certain requirements to use this application. That, of course, they need to know the basic English. They need to know how to read, and without knowing much about English. But you understand that it is lesson number 10. The lesson number 1 is much more simple. And it has such phrases like I can count to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So it grows in complexity. And of course, you cannot create something which is will fit for all sizes. But the certain requirements should be met.
Okay, so you are saying I am the one who needs to know the student's level and assess it from time to time so that I will monitor whether this student is capable or able to do
No,
and follow the directions.
no, that is not correct. And here is the more general answer to the same question. The only requirement that you have to know alphabet, you have to know how to read, and most students who come to you do know it. We do not work with those who do not know alphabet or who cannot read. The rest, it doesn't matter. You should not follow their level, etc. And here's why. We have known, and this program in various and previous versions were used for 20 years, and we have discovered very clearly that it is beneficial for those who only start learning English, and for those who can read and write and can even write in perfect English but cannot speak. Because the program introduces acquisition of language skills. And in this way, it doesn't matter. What matters that he can follow the text. And even if he is has a very low level of reading skills, he can follow, he will follow, and he will acquire a lot from this program.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. So in this case, it really doesn't matter at this point what is the knowledge of English as long as he or she can follow and read it.
Exactly, and that's why this environment is actually, and I always use this phrase, you start speaking before you learned English. And in the way of your speaking, we give you those crutches. Those, everything is here is to create for you an option when you can imitate speech, and in the course of producing this speech or just imitating, you acquire the language skills.
Okay, I understand.
So can we continue?
Yes.
Now, if you don't know the word, for example, I don't know the word healing. You just click on the word, and do you see at the very bottom the translation appears, but it appears only for 10 seconds. Why?
Ah,
Why? Because it is a support, but it is a very special one. Because you are talking and you are pronouncing the word healing, and you have seen for a few seconds the translation into Mandarin. It means that you will imagine the word healing, and you will connect it not with the translation which you saw, but with this word which you pronounce many, many times, because you are pronouncing, you are working it to promote the healing process. In
I
this way,
understand. So you are actually, you do not want to implant the word because it is not really necessary at this point. What you want to do is for the person to read and
and
a
to
kind of by
imagine,
a
and
kind of
to,
by osmosis to speak
yes,
later on.
exactly, exactly. And that what happens. We have seen it 1,000 times. Okay, and so that is the basic drill here. And now look what the next drill brings us.
Drill 3.
Okay.
Continue repeating the recorded text simultaneously with the speaker many times until you can do it easily and without omissions. Then do a few more repetitions with your eyes closed without analyzing your own pronunciation.
Now, this is, of course, you see here that most of the drills were never used in the school, and they may look a bit weird, at first encounter, but keep in mind, when we are learning or doing something with your eyes open, you are on the very act of seeing the environment, you spend about 60 or 70% of your energy, of your brain power. So when you close your eyes and you listen, but the text is already familiar because you worked many times on it in the previous drill, and you do the same thing, but this time with closed eyes. You understand it? Now, when I show you how it works. Lesson 10.
Okay.
Body.
Word body. I close my eyes. The human body is an instrument for the production of art in the life of the human soul. Alfred North Whitehead. Your body can do more things than you may think it can. Just think how many functions your body performs without your being aware of it. Oh. Now, so what happens in this case that you pronounce when you cut your finger and so on. I have to stop it because we do to save some time. You understand that when you do the same thing with closed eyes, you can imagine, you actively perceive the text and you process it differently. And very many learners have noticed it actually. I didn't know it before. They noticed that their ability to visualization was restored. Their memory was improved because
Yes.
of this
It
exercise. You understand this?
right. Yes,
Now,
absolutely. I got you because this is also something that people do with music and they do it with
yes,
psychotherapy
yes,
and all
yes.
kind of things.
after the speaker, and without stopping the cassette, write down as many words as you can that come to your mind. Then repeat this drill 3 times and write down the new words each time.
So what happens in this drill that you continue repetition, but at the same time you type those words without stopping the cassette. And it is interesting because we know that typing and writing is a subconscious process and it can be done. And it's what you do, you split your attention and you perform a few actions at the same time. So you learn how to speak and type, and in this way you acquire a better spelling and a better way to type.
Lesson 10.
Lesson
Word
10,
body.
word body.
The human
The
body
human body
is
is an
an
instrument
instrument
for the production of art in the life of human soul.
North Whitehead.
Alfred Whitehead.
Your body
Your body
more
can
things
do
than
more
you
things
think it
that
can.
you may think it can. You understand? By the way, my
Just think how
my
many
tablet is
functions your body performs with
not in horizontal position. It's inconvenient for me to type. But now you see the idea that when you pronounce it, listen, pronounce, and type, you acquire those words again and again. You work with them. That is a very good requirement for osmosis. You understand this?
Yes. Arkady, does it
Yes.
have to be type or can people write?
Both. It can be typed, it can be written, whatever.
Yeah, because not everyone has the computer or has the technological possibilities of typing at the same, while they're listening.
Um, on this point, I'm not quite agree with you, and here's why. Because nowadays, a smartphone and a tablet is a very cheap device, and 60% of people actually have connection to internet from those devices.
Yes, they
And,
do. I
and
agree with you on that one. But if we're talking about children, they will not be allowed by their parents in China even to carry them to school.
um, okay, we have to think about it and try to find a way because you also understand that it is a program which is very much different, and maybe it's worth to acquire tablets for the class and have tablets in the class, especially if you buy them cheap. It's much it is inexpensive, and it is actually some sort of device is a must in the class. Otherwise, there's no technology. And let's think about the possibilities further down. So the
Okay.
next drill.
Drill 5. Compare the words from drill 4 with those of the text. Write down from the lesson all words and word combinations that you missed and pronounce them aloud a few times.
So what happens here is you have this lesson, okay? And from lesson you can scroll it and you can add here those words which you missed, okay?
Okay.
And when you do this, so you prepare for, you have added the word and so on, and then you add other words, and in this way you prepare to those words. In the next drill, you looking at those words, you will create a few sentences or a short story, whatever you remember from the lesson. So each time and everything what is done here is around to re-experience language in that or other way, and to help you to work with it. We do not explain anything. You just work, and the more you work with it, the more you acquire. You understand this?
Yes.
Great. The next drill.
Drill 6. Compose short sentences with the word combinations from drill 5 and repeat them aloud several times as fast as you can until a whole sentence sounds like one word to you.
That's very important. A whole sentence sounds like one word to you. That is training, and that's what creates the ability to speak automatically. So you say, you live as long as you love. You start very slowly. And of course, they have first to learn, you live as long as you love. They will read it, they acquire it. But then with multiple repetitions, and because they repeat not separate and not interesting words, they repeat something which is inspirational, which is useful, which is about healing, about some new information, they will do it with great pleasure. So that's what you do here. Your body has its own pharmacy to produce chemicals to create a healing process. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Your
Yeah.
body is an instrument for the production of art in the human soul. You look at this, and because you repeated it so many times, you will pronounce it, and you will do this very easily. And besides, here's a great another advantage and possibility. Here are do you see the buttons? You don't see it.
I
The
cannot see it. I can only hear you, and I can only hear the recording.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I see this would not be transferred, but at the bottom there is a record button, and when you click on it, you can record everything what you pronounce here, what you create. Then you can stop it, and you have a share button, and you can send it either to your friends or to your teacher. So recording of your own production, whatever you can produce, is included into most of the drills.
Okay, now let me ask you something.
Yes.
Um, I understand that
Once,
part. I
yes,
understand that you can record yourself and you
yes.
can send it. Does it show, is there a graph, how good I am or how I can do better in terms of pronunciation?
Uh, Maya, What you have asked now, and I understand you. You have PhD, and you have read a lot of academic studies on this sport, and you know that it was done forever. And I must tell that it is misconception. You must understand that speaking is subconscious process, and the introduction and the so-called feedback was considered as a must, as necessary. It was introduced by Rosetta Stone 20 years ago and used by anybody else. And we do have a feedback, but in a different way and a different type. You cannot explain, and each time, if he will see what is right or wrong, is wrong, because whatever he does, and when he always uses headset, etc., his pronunciation improves unbelievable. It becomes much, much more better. Whatever we do, we have a feedback, but not the one which was used in the past, because it's ineffective. The new study shows that you cannot teach grammar. There was such a study. The two classes were done. In one, the pronunciation was corrected by the teacher many, many times. Then it explained, he worked with it. In another class, the teacher didn't do any corrections at all. And the final test, the final result was, the result were absolutely the same. It's absolutely useless. It's a waste of time to correct pronunciation, because you cannot remember it. You pronounce automatically, subconsciously, without thinking, and that's why it wouldn't work. What works here is when you are in your headset, and the program even checks if you have headset. If you don't use headsets, or if you do not produce it, it will tell you. A sentence appears on the screen, you don't have headsets, or you don't use it. So it's a different approach. And we have a feedback in a different way. What we measure is, when a student now speaks in a usual class, he speaks very slowly, right? Most students speak very slowly. You observe that, right?
Well, they do. But I mean, one of the things is the translation. Another is they pay attention to grammar and so on and so forth. And, and they tend to speak very slow, or those who speak better, they mispronounce things.
Yeah, and the only way is to create and to follow this instruction. You cannot correct, you cannot give all the time feedback, and they pronounce it slowly on a totally different basis, because teachers are not aware, and they are deaf to the concept which I introduced, cross-translation, because they continue to think in their native language and try to speak in English. It's impossible. That's why they're talking about grammar, they're thinking about grammar, they think how to say correctly, etc. And all that stuff is actually a barrier in acquiring language skills. So what we do here is totally different. And the best feedback is, when you create those sentences, we can measure, and we measure in one of the drills the speed. And if your speed is about 90 words per minute, then you have natural fluency. You are pretty close. But if you speak 50 or 60 words per minute, it means that you think. It means that you create sentences. It means that you are not following our instructions correctly, and then just do more repetitions and follow the language bridge application. Is it clear now?
Most of it, yes. I mean, right now, generally speaking, I will say yes, it is clear.